Error to error to error to error to error error. Hey, what's up? How's it going? Welcome back to Popcorn Poppin' Live. I'm your host, the Popcorn Poppy. I don't know if you've heard of me before. I knew this drape was going to be, this curtain was going to be, that's a little better. Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to Popcorn Poppin' Live. I am your host, the Popcorn Poppy. There is too much content in the world, and you can't be wasting your time, so let me waste my time for you by watching all the cinema that looks vaguely interesting and letting you know what's poppin' and what ain't. Tonight, we'll be going over this past week's new films, new shows, and going over the news for upcoming projects along with what to watch in the coming week ahead. Sound good? It sounds great if you ask me. We'll be ranking the Marvel's, I always want to say multiverse saga, but that's what we're in right now. We'll be going over the Infinity Saga. Why are we doing that right now? Because multiverse isn't finished yet, and I don't think it's really fair to be ranking all those films quite yet. And ThunderBolts came out a couple weeks ago, and nothing really big came out last weekend. So we're just going to start with what is out currently on TV with our Limelight shows. Really, it's just the return of Poker Face, which is on Peacock Thursdays, yeah. If you haven't seen it before, it stars Natasha Lyonne in a Mystery of the Week series following Charlie Kail, played by Natasha, who has an extraordinary ability to determine when someone is lying. I gave this rating a poppin', just like I did in its first season, and this second season is also poppin'. The first 3 episodes dropped on Peacock already. Pros are it's a fun mystery of the week with interesting ways to mess with her superpower. It's cool. She is like a superhero. She can tell right away when someone is lying. And I don't know if they had revealed it in the first season, but she can hear a lie too. It's literally like a sixth sense to her. The show is kind of anthological mystery, where each episode opens up with a new array of characters, really just one, and it's usually the villain, and it is always a murder involved. And how that murder took place is what Charlie Kail is going to figure out. And she does so every episode, as far as I know. Again, the first 3 episodes are out. The other interesting thing about her superpower is the lies are really, really annoying to her because they're super obvious to her and almost to her alone as compared to everyone else who doesn't really see it. It's almost like a fucking tick with her head, with her mind. The show is really silly, which is a lot of fun. Ryan Johnson, who did Brick, Knives Out, a bunch of other stuff, Brothers Bloom, he did other things. Really good writer and director. Don't look at Star Wars The Last Jedi. Just forget that happened. Just know he did Knives Out, and that's why you should go all out and get Peacock just to watch Poker Face. Like I said, it is popping. It always has guest stars. This season has John Mulaney, who's not very good at acting. But he's a comedian. I'm sure Natasha Lyonne met him at a party or something. It was like, you want to be in this? And he's like, yeah, sure. Why not? I'm dating Olivia Munn. And it also has Cynthia Oviro, Giancarlo Esposito, Katie Holmes, and more stars to be shown later on. I haven't looked them up because I don't like being spoiled. Charlie Kail's character has sick pop culture references, and it's pretty dope. The cons are not many to really list off. I guess I do want a little more of her actual storyline instead of her just running away from her actual plot, which is her running away from the mob. I won't get into it. Mob, not mob. But it gives a good reason to leave when she thinks that the mafia is after her. Just give her a better reason to leave, because there are several moments where she can stay in the situation she's in if she explains to her new friend what's going on. Like Cynthia Oviro, the Academy Award nominee from Wicked, is in the first episode playing 4 or 5 different characters. And she could have been like, yo, rich girl, help me out. But instead, she leaves the situation completely. In any case, the show is still worth watching. I am going to give it some time before I give the second season an official rating, because there's only 3 episodes out right now. But for now, I'll still give it a large because of the first season. The other new television show that dropped on Netflix is called Forever, which is about 2 black high schoolers in Los Angeles that navigate first love and intimacy amidst that's a hard word, amidst social and parental pressures. I foresee this being a very well-made show. I don't know. I watched the trailer, and I know a lot of people are surprised when I watch trailers, but it happens. I swear, it happens. It's just I don't want to watch them for things that I'm already excited about. And I am excited about this, surprisingly, after watching the trailer, though. So sometimes it's necessary to watch trailers. But if you're looking for an interesting romance that definitely looks better than Juliet and Romeo, if you ask me, I'd say check out the trailer. I didn't have time to watch the first episode because I was watching some other things. It's weird having a show where you have to interact with people about movies and television that are new and then forget, holy shit, there really is a lot of new content out there every day. So I do have to live a little bit of a life, and I do have to work. But if you pay me, then I'll be able to watch everything. So I think this will be dope. If anyone has watched this yet, make sure you hit it up in the chat or comments. Just let me know. It's on Netflix right now, I think the entire first season. Another, not necessarily new show, but a returning show is Conan O'Brien Must Go. If you like Conan, you will love this series. I haven't started the second season yet because I'm watching it with the good old Venuzela, a.k.a. Patrick Kubiak, and we have to watch things together or he'll get mad at me. I totally understand. It's a friendship bonding experience to watch good television, especially watching Conan O'Brien meet his fans and creating a travel show whilst doing it. However, I have not started the new season yet, but you can start it now if you'd like, with new episodes dropping on Max Thursdays, but you can also watch the entire first season on Max as well. Now, one show that I did, what the hell? No, Bucky, go away, Bucky. Not yet. Not yet. Anyways, the Four Seasons. I had discussed that this did drop on Netflix last week. No, the week prior to that. I didn't have a chance to finish it then, but I did have a chance to finish it now. If you don't remember, it's about the decades-long friendship between three married couples when it's tested when one divorces, complicating their tradition of quarterly weekend getaways. Granted, one of the getaways isn't really a getaway. It's like a graduation, which I'm happy for because I get pissed off when I watch a show about rich people going through troubles when they're vacationing for 4 times of the year. But one of them, yes, is a vacation, but it's like to go to a graduation. So whatever. They're all, people have careers. I understand that. Anyways, this has Tina Fey, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo, Carol Kenny Silver, and Marco Calvani, and Steve Carell. Steve Carell is in this. He's not in it that much, but he's still really good in it. And he plays a complicated character that I think people will dislike, but also see a human being as well. Poppin' or not, I said it was poppin' before, and that stands after checking out the whole series. The pros are it's very lighthearted, and it was easy background show to watch, but not really pay attention to, but will still get you back. Because it is funny and almost borderline silly at times, but compared to Tina Fey's other show, 30 Rock, not that silly at all. Not over the top, but still a lot of fun. The only con I found was that it's a little too White Lotus-y about almost 60% of the time. Because I don't know. I think it's just me being a hater. If I see people living their lives in a I have money way, I get angry. But guess what? I can make money. I just choose not to. But we all can if we believe in each other. And then we can have a show like 4 Seasons. Anyways, it is still popping. I think it has great organic characters. I do wish... I'm excited for the second season, but there is something that happens at the end of this season that probably going to make people go, I'm not really interested in the show anymore. But I'm down. We'll see how it goes. Next up, let's get back with an update for Last of Us. Last episode of Last of Us, which stars Joel and Ellie, a pair connected through the harshness of the world they live in, are forced to endure brutal circumstances and consequences, and ruthless killers on a trek across post-outbreak America. It's zombies. Zombies made by mushrooms. Still poppin' show, still great, just like the video game. This is based on the second video game of Last of Us. Season 1 was based on the first video game in its entirety. Season 2 and 3 are going to be based on the second video game. They're splitting it into 2 seasons. And there's only 2 episodes left of the season, which I believe makes it 7 episodes in total, which is pretty short for a series. But I think that they're doing it correctly. I thought that they were going to save a death for the end of this first season and really shuffle things around, but they didn't. They're pretty on point when it comes to the video game. The only thing that's a little different about Bella Ramsey's Ellie is she is, for understandable reasons, not as serious and way more playful like she was in the first season or in the first video game. In the second video game, Ellie was a lot more serious, a lot more dark. And this last episode ended with her maybe going full dark, which is very interesting. However, the positives are that it follows the game extremely well. I specifically like what they did with Dina's character. That's Ellie's girlfriend. She has more of a connection with Joel than she did in the video game, and a connection with Ellie, to be honest, which I think is pretty dope. I mean, they were in love in the video game, but they like really have something real in this. I think the series, specifically episode whatever with Nick Offerman in the first season, does really good with romance, and I think they're getting their romance pretty good. But the video game did it very well as well. Anyways, still super dope. I love the fleshing out of Isaac's backstory with Jeffrey Wright. Jeffrey Wright, the actor in the show, actually voiced the character in the game, believe it or not. He was only in a couple of scenes in the game, but I can tell that they're making him a lot more in this. The pace is very good, especially with how the season is heading. I think I can tell what the last scene is going to be in this first season. But this season definitely has a lot more action than the first, which is interesting because the first season is still better than the second season, yet there is a lot more action in this season. And that's a good thing, I'd say. Anyways, definitely check it out. Definitely still popping. I will say it is a large popcorn, not butter yet, because the first season's just better. But I am excited for the next episode because shit's about to get real with Joel and Ellie. And it is a flashback episode, so check it out if you haven't yet. The Studio, I haven't watched the new episodes yet, but if you haven't watched last week's episode, it stars Seth Rogen as Matt Remick, who is a newly appointed head of Continental Studios. Desperate for celebrity approval, he and his executive team at the movie studio must juggle corporate demands with creative ambitions as they try to keep movies alive and relevant. Seth Rogen, Ike Barinholtz, Catherine Hahn, Catherine O'Hara, and Chase Sui Wonders star in this show that's written a lot by Seth Rogen and his writing partner, Evan Goldberg, but also directed by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. It's crazy, the Birdman style that they do with this show, because it's a lot of tracking shots, a lot of one-shot takes, and a lot of Seth Rogen. You can see him directing in his mind, but that doesn't take away from him still entertaining on screen. As a director and as a person that's acted, I can tell like when someone's mind is on 1,000 other things, and his kind of is, but that's okay. Still really good job, Seth. Again, haven't caught up with the series, but I ain't gonna lie. I watched one more episode last week after Popcorn Poppin', and I think that this takes over Could Have Been Love. So screw that top 8 shows of the year where I gave Drewski's Could Have Been Love #1 show of the year. I think it's this. It's for me, though. That's why. I think when it comes to me, this is my #1 show of the year. Again, I haven't finished the season or caught up with the season yet, but it is glorious. It's made for me. It's about making movies as Seth Rogen comedy, plenty of cameos. It's just all the nooks and crannies that I desire to rub my tongue all over. Did that come out weird? I don't think so. Andor's the new Star Wars show that I still haven't caught up on, and I don't really like, but everyone else loves. You let me know if you watch it. The Rehearsal, the next new episode was huge, and it was very interesting. It got weird again, but it still got really, really good, and it still remains as one of the best shows ever. Nathan Fielder gives people a chance to rehearse their own lives in a world where nothing ever works out as expected. I gave this large with butter, and it still remains large with butter. The prose is that it's fascinating yet hilarious. However, one con, and this is me apologizing to you, the fellow poppers that watch this show, specifically Roxy Hart. She went out and she watched The Rehearsal. And I was like, oh, no, don't start with that yet. And she goes, but you rated it as one of the best shows. But it's kind of weird. I don't know if I like it. The con of this show is if you don't know who Nathan Fielder is, it's going to be a weird show to get into. I think you'll be fine if you start off with the second season. I just wanted Roxy to watch all of it. I'm a completionist. I know she is. So I figure if you're like a completionist and you don't want to watch, or you do want to watch everything, start with Nathan For You, which you can start on Hulu. I'll give you a list of episodes to watch. Just go ahead and comment and go ahead and comment and let me know that you want me to tell you which episodes to watch, and I'll let you know. Then maybe watch The Curse, but you don't need to. In any case, The Rehearsal is super worth it. So far, I love second season a lot more than the first season because he's onto something, man. I don't want to give away too much, especially because it's really hard to describe. But check out new episodes on Max Sundays or just catch up on Max. But watch Nathan For You first. Your Friends and Neighbors is still one of my favorite shows that stars John Hamm. After being fired in disgrace, a hedge fund manager resorts to stealing from his neighbors' homes in the affluent Westmont Village, only to discover that the secrets hidden behind the wealthy facades might be more dangerous. It is still Poppin' faux show, but you should keep watching, just like I'm going to keep watching. I had to make sure I didn't have any technical difficulties. I apologize for looking at the phone, but I had to make sure because my boy is watching. Shout out. Rating's still popping. If you love John Hamm, you'll love the show. It's fun and interesting. There is nothing that's really bad about it, except this is about a rich guy that loses his job and he decides to go to burglary, right? It does kind of remind you of the way his character adapts to his new thievery life is very reminiscent to Breaking Bad because he's breaking the rules. However, I want to see more opportunity for him to go to a straight life instead of a life of crime, meaning Breaking Bad, Walter White had a lot of opportunities to back away. We haven't really seen an opportunity for him to quit yet. I want to see him try to at least look at ZipRecruiter for other hedge fund manager jobs or have a friend offer a job. There's only been one instance where they offered him a job and he's like, no, I'm too good for that. I'll do it. And then he looks at a diamond and he's like, I would rather burgle because I like this. He does admit through narration, which is honestly my only con with the show, why he doesn't do it. But in any case, still super dope. Check it out on Apple TV Plus Fridays. Excellent rating. Mobland. Two mob families clash in a war that threatens to topple empires and lives, starring Tom Hardy, Pierce Brosnan, and Helen Mirren, and Patty Considine. I'm probably mispronouncing that. The show is barely popping, man. It really is. The first two episodes is like a Guy Ritchie movie because they were directed by him, and he's not credited, but he definitely wrote those bitches. If you don't remember, he did movies like Snatch and The Gentleman. Excellent writer, excellent director. But the con is the show is great until it isn't. Once Guy Ritchie leaves the show is very boring. Tom Hardy is hardly in it. He's mostly just standing and looking very menacing. The writing is not very sharp anymore. Pierce Brosnan is just yelling all the time. And the best character is the most annoying character, and that's Helen Mirren. She does an excellent job in it, though. So, Poppin', not really. It's a medium. It's Poppin' overall, because it's a fairly decent show to have on, and it is like, what's going to happen next? But it's so slow after the first two episodes, you don't really care. Before we get into the Spotlight series, the Spotlight film, let's check the chat. All right. The Real Gilman. She looks like a booger. See, that's the only problem with the chat is that you guys can see when the chat is going to show up, and I don't. I have to go click on something else, but there's a lot going on. I'll explain some other time. In any case, I'm really enjoying the studio, says Roxy Floyd. Which director do you want to see as a guest star? Excellent question, Roxy. Very good job. If you don't remember, the studio is with Seth Rogen, and it's filled with cameos, specifically director cameos. The first episode has Martin Scorsese. I'm going to say this because it's in the trailers, even though I don't like to be spoiled that way. So Martin Scorsese is my favorite director. Oh, you know what would be really good? Quentin Tarantino. He's such a weird guy, and I think that he's very cocky, but I think that he would be able to put his cockiness to the side and play a caricature of himself, just like David Lynch did in Louis C.K.'s Louie. So I think that would be really cool. And any other directors I can think of? Kevin Smith, I think, would make fun of himself as well. I think that would be dope. Spike Lee, let's get some more black directors in there. Spike Lee, maybe Ryan Coogler, I don't think would act. It'd be cool if they got like Denzel Washington in there. That counts as a director. Anyways, very good question, though. One of the best shows ever. I don't know which one. See, I'm sorry. I got to get better with the chat, but I will. The studio is for sure. The Rehearsal is for sure, especially because it's related to it's reality and fiction as well. And finally, Robin Floyd's talking about the rehearsal. I owe her a list of Nathan For You. I will get you that list. I will tell you right now, watch the second episode in the very least. The second episode involves a fake Santa Claus and I believe a zoo, if I'm not mistaken. But I will definitely write that list for you, I promise. Thank you, chat. I really appreciate it. Now, let's get back into it and talk about our Spotlight film of the week. And that is Fight or Flight. Basically, one of the only new movies to come out last week. The only reason that I watched this is because I found a copy online. Legally! In any case, it stars Josh Hartnett and Charathra Chandran. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Josh Hartnett plays a mercenary that takes on the job of tracking a high-value asset known only as the Ghost on an international flight. Realizing the plane is filled with assassins assigned to kill them both, the pair must work together in a fight for their lives. Poppin' or not? Well, it's funny at random spots. Josh Hartnett is very charismatic as the lead and great with comedy. And the second lead, Charathra, is pretty dope. Having said that, let's go over to Bucky. Bucky, you doing good? Yeah, good seeing you, buddy. All right, I'm going to need you to give me a rating for this, please. I concur. It is just bordering on Poppin' and bordering on And the reason being is that it's not very special. This is Josh Hartnett on a bullet train. This is, instead of Brad Pitt on a plane like Fight or Flight, it's Josh Hartnett. It is the John Wick one-man army, although he has a few teammates in this one, in one location. So granted, yes, we're in one location. Check. I usually like those kind of films. Yes, we do have badass fighting. Check. Yes, it's a one-day movie. Check. But I don't see anything very special. Josh Hartnett as an assassin is new. We had him do a killer. He's going outside his wheelhouse, which is pretty dope. Novocaine doesn't like the poster. I don't love the poster either, but it's pretty standard, and you kind of get what the movie's about just from that. Having said that, I didn't love it. But there were times where I'm like, oh, that was like, I was laughing out loud at a lot of parts, because there's a lot of random spots of comedy. It's just, the biggest con is the story is nothing special. You don't care what it's about. You've heard this storyline 1,000 times. You've seen this movie 1,000 times. The ending is a garbage cliffhanger. Like, I'm not spoiling it for you. The line is, it's not over. Oh, fuck! And you don't have any idea what's going on. And I wasn't dying for a second one. Having said that, this is so much on the border between poppin' and not poppin' that I would watch a second one. But I would watch it in the background, and I wouldn't go to the movie theater for it. I say this is a perfect streaming film, but not one that I would go to the theaters for. If you've seen it, or if you disagree, or if you're going to go see it, you can go see it in theaters. But let me know what you think. Novocaine already said that he didn't like the poster. That might be enough to judge it on the whole movie in its entirety. You don't have to go see it. All right, the other films that are out that I was going to review are Warfare went from theaters to renting, which I hear good things about. I haven't watched it yet, but I definitely will. Juliet and Romeo, I did take a very beautiful date to go see this. Shout out to Roxy. She was very excited about it. Seeing a musical starring the greatest love story characters that we all know. Everyone knows Romeo and Juliet, but with a twist, it's a musical, and we're going to switch up the names. It's Juliet and Romeo. How clever. We went to the movie theater, and movie theater-wise, it was the movie theater's fault. The sound was so fucky that you could hear the sound effects and the music, like the drums, the violins, but you couldn't hear the dialogue or the lyrics. And we got free passes, and we got to leave early because we couldn't watch it. I was like, oh my God. I think it was God giving me a second chance of like, hey, don't watch this. Don't watch what you don't want to watch. I just want to take Roxy out on a date. So shout out to Roxy. We will watch this. I will probably be doing other things while it's on in the same room that we're on. But I'll watch it with you. Having said that, from what I've seen from the first 15 minutes, I don't think it's popping, but I can't give it an official score because we didn't finish the movie. It's like not Backstreet Boys, because the Backstreet Boys were good. Shout out Backstreet Boys. It's like that kind of like the pop band, the pop singers from back in the day, like a boy band pop musical. I didn't like it. I don't love musicals, but don't go that direction. I think this is specifically for like teenage, like middle school girls. That's what the music sounded like. The opening was awful. It was like, Romeo and Juliet was this and that, but then the Montagues and the Capitulates. And I'm like, yes, we all know. I get that you're trying to get newer audiences, but I did not vibe with it. I did not vibe with it. Novocaine says, ha 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 ha. But I didn't vibe with it. You can go see it and let me know what you think. I will say from the first 15 minutes, I would highly recommend not going to watch it. If you are going to go watch it, don't go to AMC Grash it. It didn't finish it, so I can't talk shit about it. I do think this does cater to a certain audience. Let me give you some pros, because I'm just bashing on this movie. The sets and the costumes looked okay, I guess, and some synchronized dancing looked all right. I didn't feel it. But, again, I am not a fan of musicals, so if you go see it, let me know what you think. Other movies that are in theaters right now are Shadow Force with Kerry Washington, that I'm slightly interested in, about an estranged couple with a bounty on their heads and must go on the run with their son to avoid their former employer, a unit of shadow ops that has been sent to kill them. My biggest issue, I like Omar Sy. I love Kerry Washington, but check out the trailer. This, like Fight or Flight, doesn't look like anything special. So I forecast this movie not popping, but it could be. If you have seen it, let me know. If you didn't, let me know why you didn't either. And the other new film that dropped is No Nas, which is on Netflix, starring Vince Vaughn. You got to hold on, though. It's not a standard Vince Vaughn movie. After losing his beloved mother, a man risks everything to honor her by opening an Italian restaurant with actual No Nas, a.k.a. grandmothers, as the chefs. I think this sounds like a decent movie for like an older crowd that doesn't like raunchy comedy like Wedding Crashers. But we know Vince Vaughn as the raunchy comedy guy, like Wedding Crashers. So I did watch this trailer. Wasn't a big fan. See, I will watch trailers for movies where I'm like, I got a bad feeling about this, but I'll watch it anyway. Let's check the chat real quick. That laugh was insane. By the way, if you don't know Novocaine, he laughs like that. Be sure to check out Kid Rax Tuesdays and Thursdays on Twitch. Thursdays he plays Marvel Rivals. Novocaine, what are you playing tomorrow? Make sure to let us know soon. Anyways, Nona's I forecast is nah in the poppin' category. But it does look like lighthearted and easy. It just doesn't look like it's for me. Now, moving on. Oh yeah. Okay, so listen, guys. I'm so glad you're all here. I think this is enough people to show you. So I got my hands on an exclusive deleted scene. So this big night is about the Infinity Saga. We're going to go over all of it. Why are we going over the Infinity Saga, you might ask? It's because ThunderBolts came out a couple weeks ago, and it's really the only big movie that's out right now. No huge releases except for Fight or Flight, which I don't think did very well in the box office, came out. So I got my hands on a deleted scene from ThunderBolts. That's right. It's a scene that doesn't feature any of the actors from ThunderBolts and wasn't directed by the same director as ThunderBolts, but it was directed by a very famous director that, well, I'll just let him explain.
Hi, I'm
Jermaine
Higgins. Walt Disney approached me years ago to direct the birth of the ThunderBolts. Granted, I didn't know much about weather, nor about God, didn't read the Bible, and didn't know what the MCU was. But I thought I'd give it a go, so I directed one scene for it and presented it to Walt Disney. Ultimately, they turned me down, but I decided to share it with you. Tell me what you don't like about it. And I want you to enjoy.
Dad, you promised that you were going to help me pop this zit and read me a story before I go to sleep. What's the dealio?
Quiet, Jesus. I'm trying to figure out what else to add to this storm. I have rain, I have wind, but I'm missing something.
Gee, Dad, only you would want thunderous applause for your crazy creation, since you secretly fear the world will bolt away from worshiping you.
Jesus Christ! That's it! I'll create rumble and sparklight with electricity to spread fear to those who ever dare cross me, and force those sinners to stay in their homes and indeed spend time with one another, just like I don't do with you. And then I shall call them Thunderbolts!
Great! Now will you come read me a story before I go to bed?
Hell no! You annoy me.
But, Dad...
No buts, little boy. If you keep whining, you'll get yourself crucified.
Always say that.
What was that, boy?
Nothing.
One of these days, Jesus. One of these days.
Masterful. Not sure why they didn't like it. Again, never watched the MCU, never read anything from the Bible. But I really liked what I got. And if you like it too, make sure you tweet out... What was that? There is no more tweeter? X? Okay. Go ahead and X out. Hashtag release the Higgins cut. That's why I can get a job again. Thank you, and I'll see you on the couch.
Yeah, that wasn't... I didn't see one Avenger in that, new or old. I didn't see any MCU references. That was not... They sold that to me differently. I apologize about that. Anyways, let's rank the Infinity Saga, starting with number 23. I think everyone can agree that number 23 was pretty easy, and that was Thor: The Dark World. Again, really, I gotta say, before we get really into it, not all of these were I don't think there's one of these that I truly disliked. Even the number 23rd one. We're gonna work our way up, by the way. Thor: The Dark World. When the Dark Elves attempt to plunge the universe into darkness, Thor must embark on a perilous and personal journey that will reunite him with Dr. Jane Foster. Pros. The attack on Asgard was basically the best scene of the film. Again, I don't really remember it very well, but I do remember that scene being pretty dope. We also got Natalie Portman, so that's cool. Cons. It's not very memorable. So there's that. Having said that, the guy who directed this, I don't have his name here, Alan Taylor. He did Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, The Sopranos, Many Saints of Newark, Boardwalk Empire, Oz. The guy's a great director, just maybe not great for the MCU. Let's move on to number 22. Iron Man 3. I was very disappointed by this movie, specifically because of the director Shane Black. When Tony Stark's world is torn apart by a formidable terrorist called the Mandarin, he starts an odyssey of rebuilding and retribution. I did not love this. It was very disappointing. Sure, we got RDJ doing fun quips. Sure, we got MCU stuff going on, which is super dope. It's just, I was expecting to see something like The Nice Guys or the Lethal Weapons or Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, all done by Shane Black. He wrote the Lethal Weapons, and he wrote and directed The Nice Guys. Great film. Rent it if you haven't seen it yet. It's just, this was kind of disappointing. But my biggest con of this was the weird ending of him fighting all his suits. Oh, and the twist. The twist sucked. I wasn't a big fan of it. But it's still fun. It's still RDJ. Yeah. Next up. Thor. The first one, of course. The powerful but arrogant god Thor is cast out of Asgard to live amongst humans in Midgard, which is Earth, by the way, where he soon becomes one of their finest defenders. It's just the origin story of Thor. I don't know why I read all that. I don't think I need to read all of these. So this one was done by Kenneth Branagh, who is, he wrote, directed, and starred in the Hercule Poirot, I think that's how you pronounce his name, those detective movies, Murder on the Orient Express, Death on the Nile, A Murder in Venice. He also directed a Cinderella. He did a Hamlet. He did Mary Shelley's Frankenstein with him and Robert De Niro. He is a theater guy, for real. So Thor made sense for him to do. If you can't picture him visually, he was the bad guy in Tenet, and he also was Gilderoy Lockhart in that Harry Potter movie. Anyways, the pro of this movie is Natalie Portman. And Thor is a badass, don't get me wrong. And I like mythology. But the biggest con is his eyebrows being blonde. It's super weird. Also, I was very uninterested in the movie. The biggest plus was the one scene that made me go, okay, I like this movie. Because the whole time I didn't think much of it until, I can't do it because all right, so I guess I can do it with this. Ha ha ha! Psh, another! I think I did that in the wrong order. Psh, another! That's what he did. Anyways, still okay film, just very low on the totem pole for me. The Incredible Hulk. Bruce Banner, a scientist on the run from the U.S. government, must find a cure for the monster he turns into, whenever he loses his temper. This was with, remember, Edward Norton almost joined the MCU? I'm assuming he wanted to be like the star of the MCU, and they're like, nah, we're not doing that. The guy who directed this, Louis Leterrier, directed Fast X Part 1 and the upcoming Part 2, Transporter 1 and 2, and Unleashed. Remember that fucking, I almost said Bruce Lee, Jet Li, Morgan Freeman movie? That was really good. Anyways, director's perfect for this. This movie was a lot better than the Eric Bana Hulk. I don't know if you remember that one. However, there wasn't really a however. Tim Roth was great in this film too. It was a dope Hulk movie, and I would have loved to have seen a Mark Ruffalo Hulk movie. Yeah, we get a lot of Mark Ruffalo in the MCU. We could use more. Having said that, still a dope film. Just no carryover for the MCU-wise besides the, I want to say mid-credit scene, but it was probably the end credit scene where RDJ approaches that one guy. Anyways, number 19, Ant-Man and the Wasp, which is Ant-Man and the Wasp 2, okay? You don't need to know much more else than that, except they're trying to get Hope Van Dyne, played by Michelle Pfeiffer. Poppin' or not, still poppin'. As opposed to the others that were like popping, but barely. These are all popping. I don't have to tell you that. I dig that we get more of the Wasp, that, you know, it's more of like a duo than just Ant-Man. I think it's more fun, more of an odd couple situation. I don't buy the chemistry, though. I really don't. The actors being that. The characters, sure, why not? I did like this movie a lot, though. I love Ghost. Just like in Thunderbolts, I love her in this, and her character is sad because she's in pain all the time because of this weird ghost thing that she does. So that was sick. It's just, what's the biggest con? I can't really think of it. Oh, Edgar Wright almost directed this movie. If you don't remember who Edgar Wright is, I bring him up almost every other episode. He did Shaun of the Cornetto trilogy, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, World's End. He also did Baby Driver and Last Night in Soho, which I didn't love, but still. He was going to direct fucking Ant-Man, and there's creative differences. He's a specific guy. Anyways, still a fun film. They instead gave it to Peyton Reed, who did this movie, and he did the first Ant-Man, of course. Peyton Reed, if you don't remember, he did Bring It On, Yes Man, and The Breakup. So a fairly good comedic director who does action fairly well. I just think Edgar Wright would have done better action. Not much more to say about why this one made 18. I just liked this one more than Ant-Man and the Wasp. Only because it was a little more fun and I guess kind of cooler action scenes. The Wasp kicks ass, don't get me wrong. I still think I like this one more. But Ghost is dope. I just wish Ghost was in it. Moving on to number 17. Spider-Man Far From Home, which is the one where he where do they go? England? Europe. They just go in Europe. That's all I put down. And he versus Mysterio. Whoops. So this is the third time that we see Tom Holland as Spider-Man. Still very funny. Still a great high school field trip movie. Half high school comedy, half MCU film. My biggest con with it was the twist with Mysterio and the villains that he versed. I didn't care for that. I thought this is kind of lame. It's just a group of regular people, which is the point. But I didn't dig that. This one was directed by John Watts, who did the recent George Clooney, Brad Pitt Wolf movie, Wolves, not Wolves, Wolves. He also did a film called Cop Car with Kevin Bacon, which I recommend to rent. This one is fun, and I loved the cliffhanger Didn't like the villains, but I loved the cliffhanger. By the way, all these films you can find on Disney Plus, including the Spider-Mans. Moving on. All right, now we've seen our first Avengers. Avengers Age of Ultron. This is the second Avengers film where Tony Stark and Bruce Banner try to jumpstart a dormant peacekeeping program called Ultron. Things go horribly wrong, and it's up to Earth's mightiest heroes to stop the villainous Ultron from enacting his terrible plan. I think my biggest gripe with this was we started teasing Thanos, yet I think Thanos has an end credit scene in this. I don't remember very well. But I'm like, I don't care about this Ultron, dude. Granted, I knew nothing about Ultron before this movie. And I love James Spader, who did the voice. I was like, what? Where's Thanos? Where's Thanos? Where's Thanos? I want to talk about the Stones. In any case, the movie was decent. I thought it was going to be way better than Avengers, and it just wasn't. I mean, Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, like my least favorite part of the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, my least favorite part of the movie. Perfect delivery. I didn't stumble once. Damn it! This was done by Joss Whedon. If you're not familiar with Joss Whedon, I think I'm having too much sugar. He did Buffy and Angel, which you can watch on Hulu and Tubi. Highly recommend. He co-wrote Cabin in the Woods. Great film, great horror film that you can watch on Prime. He did do Justice League, or should I say he finished Zack Snyder's Justice League, but act like that didn't happen. He did a very underrated show called Dollhouse. Highly recommend to rent it. One of my favorite shows. I loved it. Check out the chat. Novocaine's family will love No Nas. I agree. It's a family show. It looks like a family show. Or movie, sorry. Corinne, the Cornetto trilogy is amazing. Hey, shout out, go Kyle, man. I'm glad you wiped her up. Cornetto trilogy is amazing. 3 favorite movies of all time. It's quite lost for Ant-Man that Edgar Wright didn't direct. Yes, that is quite a blow to Ant-Man. Again, the movie ended up being okay. When I found out they replaced Edgar Wright with Peyton Reed, the director of Bring It On, I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing? Don't get me wrong, Bring It On's good. Bring It On's good. Don't kill me. It's just Edgar Wright would have been better. Having said that, Edgar Wright, the movie ended up being okay. Corinne, let me know what your favorite Cornetto trilogy film is. Mine is always going to be Shaun of the Dead. It might be in order. Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and World's End. But World's End is super dope, especially coming from an alcoholic. I love World's End. Very underrated. Anyways, moving on. I think we talked enough about Avengers Age of Ultron. Dollhouse. Watch Dollhouse is dope. And he also did Firefly and Serenity. I don't think newer audiences will really dig Firefly or Serenity, but they were dope. If you are ever interested, don't watch Serenity first. Watch Firefly first, the series, which you can watch on Hulu, then rent Serenity. Because Serenity is one of the best conclusions to a television show I've ever seen. Very epic, very dope. But Dollhouse, check that out too. Anyways, I love Avengers. I don't love Avengers Age of Ultron. I don't love it. But I liked it a lot. I liked it more the second time too. I will say that. And you get to see our heroes like hanging out like at the party together. That was fun. It is fun to see a second movie of a team-up movie because you get to see them hanging out instead of, we got to learn to work together. We can see them like being social with one another, not just getting a falafel at the end credit scene. Or not a falafel, shawarma. Number 15, Captain Marvel. That's right. I like Captain Marvel more than Age of Ultron. This one is the first time that we actually see Carol Danvers. No, this isn't the first time. We saw Carol Danvers at the end of Infinity War. Right? I don't know. When do we... Whatever. I don't know. Captain Marvel. Way better than everyone says. It had a great 90s feel. And it was basically a one-day movie. And I love Brie Larson. A lot of people hate on Brie Larson, maybe because they're incels or they just hate women in general. But Brie Larson is dope. She kicked good ass in this and took names. It's just that it felt like a movie that should have been one of the first movies to come out in the Infinity Saga. It felt like a Phase 1 film. Granted, it took place in the 90s, but it felt like an early 2000s film, which I'm sure was the feel that they were trying to go for, but I don't know. It could have been done a little better. I think that there was a lot of buildup for this movie, especially because she was teased in the end credits for Infinity War, and it felt like it should have been one of the first films. It didn't raise the bar comparatively to all the other Infinity Saga movies that we had leading up to Endgame. But I really dug it. The directors are Anna Boden and Ryan Fleck, who did Half Nelson, It's Kind of a Funny Story, Mississippi Grind, and Freaky Tales, which you can see. I think you can rent it. I'm not sure. Moving on. Iron Man Dose. I just didn't like Whiplash. That's basically the only thing I got to say about this. The pros are we got Sam Rockwell and Don Cheadle's first time being War Machine. We got Jon Favreau's second directing in the MCU. Jon Favreau did the first Iron Man. He plays Happy Hogan. He did the movies Chef. He is the showrunner of Mandalorian. He's directing Mandalorian and Grogu, the Star Wars film that's culminating that storyline. He directed Elf, Jungle Book, Zathura, The New Lion King, and Maid. So RDJ, fun. We still got RDJ being quippy, being awesome. We got Sam Rockwell dancing his way into the Justin Hammer role. We got War Machine. And we have the introduction of Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow, who's super dope, and her hair looked the best in that. I don't usually comment on women's hair, but there was a significant difference between this and, like, Captain America 2. Don't get me wrong. I still love Black Widow. I still love ScarJo, but she looked her best in this. Having said that, the cons of this film were awful villain. I hated Whiplash. I didn't like Mickey Rourke's character. I liked Justin Hammer, but I didn't find him very threatening. And there wasn't much going on with Whiplash. That's why this film didn't make it into the top 10. Reaching the top 10 is Captain America: The First Avenger, which I think is very underrated. I think that Steve Rogers goes, yes, he's a vanilla. Don't get me wrong, everyone loves Steve Rogers today. But let's face it, he's a very vanilla hero. He doesn't have much of a personality except for America First and villains down, bad villains. We got our super soldier, we get Red Skull, we get like him going through the years, and it's like a historical film done by Joe Johnston, who directed Jumanji, The Rocketeer, October Sky, Hidalgo, The Pagemaster. I don't know if you guys remember Pagemaster, but that movie was dope. He also did Wolfman. So I dug this movie. I did not think I was going to like this movie. I'm definitely not into government films, but I thought this was a good, like, super soldier film. It felt like it was from the 90s in a good way. It's just like when you compare it to the other ones from a popularity standpoint, I see why people weren't too excited for it, but I think it's very underrated. And then next up is Captain America: Winter Soldier, which I didn't love the first time. I saw the appreciation the second time outside of the fighting scenes. And the best things about this movie are the fighting scenes. I love that. It's Russo brothers' first film in the MCU. They previously had done Welcome to Collinwood, episodes of Community, and Arrested Development. They also directed You, Me, and Dupree with Owen Wilson and Matt Dillon. Who's the actress in that? This is the first time I've looked. I can't remember. Kate Hudson. I forgot about that. That was a decent film. Anyways, not to get off topic because I'm losing viewers a lot, but people love this movie. I think this is where people were really excited for Captain America. I think that they thought that he was vanilla before, but he was a real kick-ass person in this one. The biggest pros were the fight scenes, and Winter Soldier, I didn't really care for Bucky yet. Not you, not this Bucky. Different Bucky. I didn't care for Winter Soldier, but I did care for the fighting. And the biggest con is that I don't really care for government espionage or political conspiracy. I think that those plots are kind of boring in films. Having said that, the twist of Hydra infiltrating S.H.I.E.L.D. was pretty sick. I thought that was dope. And leading into number 11, Captain America 3, Civil War. Why is this so... You'd think that this would be top 5, but I think I have fairly good reasons why it isn't. Let's go into the pros first. Russo's brothers' second film in the MCU. We have our heroes fighting each other, which we all want to see. We have excellent conflict between Tony and Cap specifically, and we get the intro to Spider-Man. And it's a pretty interesting dilemma about, like, how far can heroes go without government interference. I thought the story was interesting. I love the conflict, and I love the end fight scene, especially, of course, they're all fighting each other, but specifically Tony versus Steve and Bucky. Great fight scene. And just, you really see the heartbreak between two friends that fought together, fight each other. Loved that. But if you just bog it down to what it really is, yes, you know, these movies are made for families, for kids, but you have all of our heroes fighting each other. It's a backyard skirmish. You know none of them are going to kill each other. I'm not saying that we need to go to the MCU movies to go see people die, but being heroic is knowing you might die in a situation. And I just knew no one was going to die in this. The stakes weren't very high to me at all, besides them losing their friendship, of course. In any case, it's still a dope-ass movie, and honestly, I had this way lower on the list. But then I thought about all the great scenes in it. I'm like, no, this is a pretty badass movie. It's just knowing that these heroes aren't going to kill each other was me being like, I know this movie isn't going to have a sad ending. And it kind of did, I guess. Top 10, baby. Spider-Man Homecoming snuck in there, baby. Snuck in there. We have Tom Holland's first Spider-Man movie, but it's really like Iron Man 2.5 or 3.5. It's Iron Man 3.5 because it's half Tony Stark and half Spider-Man. My biggest problem with this was it was way too much Tony Stark. I get that, you know, MCU and Sony were like, hey, we're agreeing to make this movie together. You just got to make sure to have RDJ in it as much as possible so we can make sure people go see it. Everyone's going to go see Spider-Man. Look at the fucking filmography of everything that's Spider-Man right now. We got a TV show, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Probably another kids' TV show, Spider-Man. We got Across the Spider-Verse. We got another one of these coming out. We have so much spider shit. It's ridiculous. Did I mention Into the Spider-Verse? I think I did. Don't get me wrong. This movie was still super dope. It was fun, hilarious. I love the high school aspect of it. It really felt like a high school movie. I love all of the characters, even Zendaya, of course. John Watts did this movie too. I love Tony. I just didn't like him being the father figure. It was too much of him. I would have appreciated only a cameo because it diverted too much attention away from Spider-Man. I want to see Peter Parker try to figure out how to be a hero on his own. I don't want to see a more famous hero take him under his wing. Now, I did see that movie, which is this, and it worked. I just had wished it would have been, I got to lower my octaves because whenever I watched clips from this, my voice is really high. So I need to make sure to go low. I dug the movie. I just wish there was a little less Tony Stark. Now, Black Panther, we wish we had more King T'Challa, the heir to the hidden but advanced kingdom of Wakanda, who must step forward to lead his people into a new future and must confront a challenger from his country's past. It's one thing I forgot to mention in Civil War. We got Black Panther, and that was a fucking sick introduction. So this is done by Ryan Coogler, who everyone knows his name now if he didn't before. He did before this Fruitvale Station and Creed, and he just recently did Sinners. The next project that he's working on is an X-Files TV show, which I think he's producing and probably helping direct the first couple episodes, but I don't think he's going to be like just working on that all of his life. I think he's just going to help get it developed. After Sinners, I think it's absolutely going to happen. Anyways, Black Panther's awesome. The main reasons are because Wakanda's dope as hell. Their culture, their technology, the score of the film is amazing. There's an awesome tracking shot inside the bar with Andy Serkis's character. I think it's Claw. I can't remember. They got Andy Serkis. But the best part of this movie, besides T'Challa and the culture of Wakanda, is Killmonger. You can make any movie really, really good if you have a good villain. And Killmonger was one of the best villains, in my opinion. Before Sinners, I was like, between Sinners and Chronicle, and after Fantastic Four, I was like, I don't know. I like Michael B. Jordan, but I kind of see the same character all the time. Sinners, you see someone different. His early work, you see someone different. You see something slightly different in this because he's a villain, but he had a lot of good points for being a villain, except the end. So you're basically like, yeah, I understand why he's doing this. I understand why he killed that guy. I understand why he's taken over Wakanda. It's just at one point he like tries to kill a kid or like some woman or something. You're like, wait, no, fuck that. But you kind of have to be like, hey guys, we can't make Killmonger too likable. We have to root for him to lose. So they did it with like one scene. My only cons with this movie is the CGI of Black Panther through most of the scenes. That's the same problem I had with Spider-Man. Just way too many times I'm like, CGI, CGI, CGI. I would have rather a real suit, but who knows? Maybe it'll look more strange. My other con, I won't even say it's a con. It just reminded me a lot of Lion King. I don't think that's a con necessarily. I just couldn't stop thinking of Lion King whilst watching this film. Moving on to number 8, Avengers Infinity War, part 1 of 2 of the end of the Infinity Saga. Now, we have basically all the Avengers, almost all the Avengers, right? We're missing only a handful in this film compared to Endgame. And there is only one war scene, but it's at the very end. However, we get some cool shit. We got a crazy-ass ending. We have dope-ass fight scenes. We now question the disband. We are introduced in the disbandment. That's what I got written down. That doesn't sound right. But we're introduced to like, hey, what's up with the Avengers now that they're broken up? We have a true Thanos intro of what's going on, and he's a decent villain too. And the best team up in this film are Tony Stark, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, and the Guardians. Those scenes were awesome. My biggest con was it's a bit lackluster in the war department. It was just one big bad battle in Wakanda. That Wakanda battle was sick, but I was kind of hoping that half of the movie would happen that way. And it is a true part 1 of 2 films. Like halfway through the movie, I'm like, this isn't how I thought these big movies were going to happen at all. So I was kind of questioning whether or not I trusted how Endgame was going to be. Also, notice that I used not a still from the movie, but a still from the trailer. They tricked us. The Hulk was not the Hulk here. It was Bruce Banner and the fucking Hulkbuster. Hulkbuster? That was my biggest gripe with Infinity War and Endgame. Y'all fucked up the Hulk. Russo brothers, you fucked up the Hulk. I don't want... We'll go into Endgame in a second, but I don't want a pussy Hulk. And also, Pussy Hulk was only in like 5 seconds of this. The rest of the movie is Bruce Banner. That was a bummer. But it is a decent Avengers movie. It's pretty sick. Yeah, Spider-Man going to space. That was fun. Number 7, Doctor Strange. Trippy-ass movie. Benedict Cumberbatch is super, very Tony Stark, but still super fun. Very, very, very trippy. Scott Derrickson did this. He is a horror guy who definitely brought a lot of horror into this film. He did Sinister, Black Phone. He recently did The Gorge. Back in the day, he did Exorcism of Emily Rose, Deliver Us from Evil, and The Day the Earth Stood Still, which is a decent alien movie. The biggest pro is that this movie's trippy as fuck. Seeing this in the theater was awesome. It was a great movie theater experience that honestly I'll never forget. Strange's powers are super sick. And you got Rachel McAdams, Chiwetel Ejiofor, and Mads Mikkelsen. Not many cons, though. Not many cons. I dug this movie. Kind of surprised it didn't make it in the top 5 or 6. What made it to number 6? Oh, yeah. Thor Ragnarok. Remember? This was the movie that y'all loved, but you gave Love and Thunder so much shit for basically doing the same thing, but being a better movie. That's right. Love and Thunder was better. I'm the only one that thinks that. Comment and tell me why I'm wrong. I loved Love and Thunder, but we're not talking about Love and Thunder. We're talking about Ragnarok. We got Taika Waititi entering the MCU universe, and he probably won't come back after people hating the MCU, but excuse me. He did the What We Do in the Shadows film, Hunt for the Wilder People, Jojo Rabbit, which he won an Oscar for writing, Eagle vs. Shark, Our Flag Means Death, and Flight of the Conchords. Super, 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 super good. Super entertaining. Made Thor interesting. No one loved Thor. Women loved Chris Hemsworth. No one loved Thor. People loved Mjolnir, but people didn't love the Thor movies. Now we have Thor being fun. It worked. I loved it. I thought it was hilarious, fun. We have surprisingly sexy Cate Blanchett as Hela, who's a decent villain. We got the Hulk. We got Bruce Banner. We have Jeff Goldblum. We got Tessa Thompson's Valkyrie. It was sick. Good haircut, too. Con. My biggest con is Carl Urban from The Boys is in this, and he's obviously just a device character. You're like, who is this guy? Why are we spending so much time with him? But he wasn't a three-dimensional character. If you don't remember who I'm talking about, it's the bald guy that goes, "Behold, my stuff." And he was with Hela the whole time. And the only reason he's in this movie is because they needed to give Hela a person to tell all of her evil plans to, all of the monologuing to. That was what I didn't like about it the most. And they kind of retconned Odin's like good godness, his good godliness by her being like, oh yeah, he was a piece of shit for this, he was a piece of shit for that. Like, I don't remember Odin being that much of a piece of shit. I remember him being wrathful, but not that wrathful. So, was it too much comedy? Maybe. But, no, it wasn't. That's the answer to that question. All right, top 5. We're almost there. We're in the home stretch, baby. Guardians of the Galaxy, of course. A group. I don't need to read that. You all know what Guardians of the Galaxy is. This one was done by James Gunn, who did Slither, Super. Super is a very good superhero movie. Rated R, a lot of fun. It stars Rainn Wilson and Ellen Page, not Elliot Page, and Kevin Bacon as the villain. Highly recommend to rent that. He also wrote the Scooby-Doos. He's now the new head of DCU. He did Peacemaker, Creature Commandos, and the new Superman movie that's coming out July 11th. Now, how did he do in the MCU? He fucking helped a lot. People love Guardians of the Galaxy. Probably some of our favorite heroes. We got Chris Pratt entering into the movies as a funny action hero. That's fine. He doesn't need to only do action. He can be funny as well. And we got this Groot. This is my favorite Groot, by the way. Oh, wait. Swole Groot might be my favorite. But I love this Groot more than Baby Groot and maybe not Baby Groot. All right, maybe this isn't the best Groot. I miss this Groot, though. Pros. Everything. I love this movie. I mean, it's perfect. It's a great team-up movie, a great team-up of rascals film. There isn't that many... I don't think I have any cons written down. Oh, I've seen it 1,000 times. I've watched this movie so much that I don't think I could ever watch it again. Oh, another big pro, the score, the music. A1. Excellent. But is it better than Volume 2? A lot of people could argue that 1 is better than Volume 2. I disagree. I think that this one is better because everyone has their chance to shine. Granted, we get the Guardians more together in the first film, which was initially what my biggest qualm with the second movie was. The first time I watched it, I'm like, yo, I want to see the Guardians guardianing together. I don't want to see them spread apart. Then I watched it the second time, and I was like, I don't know, man. They're pretty badass spread apart, too, and they still got times to kick ass together. We also got Nebula joining the squad, along with Mantis. The biggest con of this film, I'm sorry, Bautista, but Drax. Drax, you turned into a caricature of yourself. Yeah. That is funny! Is every 5 seconds. He's funny in the movies, mostly when he's being mean to Mantis, but he's literally doing that every 5 seconds. And he was way better in the first movie. I liked the scary Drax. Now he's just like, I don't know. I get that he's trying to be more representative of different kids. I think specifically those that are on the spectrum, which you can still do that, but he's too fun. Like, yo, it's Drax the Destroyer, not Drax the ha-ha. Clip that. Excellent improv, me. Don't clip that. That was terrible. All right, top 3, baby. What do you think it's going to be? Well, dude, if you can deduce correctly, you'll know that number 3 is Iron Man. It's the original. It's the one that kickstarted everything. It was RDJ's back to stardomness. It was dope. It was everything that we wanted it to be. We had quips, we had improv, we had comedy, we had really good action. We had a universe starting. We had Nick Fury showing up at the end being like, yo, I'm assembling a team. And guess what? We have cool end credit scenes that makes people want to stay for the whole ride. It was awesome. Definitely one of the best. I loved this movie. I feel like I have other pros written down. Strong start, man. Strong start to the MCU. It's just badass. One of the best moments in cinema. I am Iron Man. Leading into number 2. The first Avengers. It's Earth's mightiest heroes meeting up, really in cool ways, where they're all kind of fighting each other, and kicking ass and saving New York. Awesome, awesome, awesome. The theater was present. The movie theater was fucking vibrating. People were excited. People were screaming at the screen. People were laughing their ass off because Joss Whedon did this. And I don't care what you say, he's a good writer. It was awesome. It was everything that we wanted. I had a little qualm, though. I love Loki now. People loved Loki way too much back then. I didn't care. I like Tom Hiddleston. I've always liked him. But I didn't care for him that much back then. I just didn't. And I really didn't care for him being the main villain of the Avengers. It's like, what? Yeah, Loki? I don't know. Having said that, it's Earth's mightiest heroes. And I think if you were paying attention, you know what the end game is for the number 1 film. That's right. It's Avengers Endgame. Need I say more? What a great conclusion. I think it's just a lot of internet people trying to be like, going against the grain and like hipster-esque, like, oh, Infinity War was better. No, it wasn't. It wasn't better. You have half of our heroes. You have them spread out. You hardly have them fighting together besides in Wakanda, which you hardly see. And a lot of people argue about the time travel stuff. Stop thinking so much. They're superhero movies. I loved the time travel stuff. I loved that we paired up heroes that aren't usually paired up, besides Black Widow and Hawkeye, but I know they had to do that for the send-off of one of the characters. Yet, it was everything that I wanted it to be. I knew that there had to be time travel in order to defeat Thanos. And I wanted my big war scene, and we got it, baby. We fucking got it, and it was glorious! People in the theater were cheering. Popcorn was in the fucking air. There were so many thunderous applause breaks that it made your hands hurt. Let's go over some of our favorite moments real quick, shall we? War Machine. I'm sorry. What's his name? Not War Machine. I mean, it is War Machine. Don Cheadle's scene where he talks about, can't we just go to where Thanos is a baby? And one of my favorite parts. Cap picking up the shield and heading into war when he knows that he's not going to win. Everyone's favorite scene is him picking up the hammer. I love that scene too, but it didn't resonate with me as much as everyone else. He was a badass with it. What I saw was, and what I heard and what I did was, woo-hoo! But him strapping that fucking shield on after his ass is already kicked, after all the heroes look like they're down and out, against a literal army filled with people, ready to go in by himself. And what do we hear? On your left, all of our heroes show up. And then we do that big, far away long shot. And we get closer and closer and closer. We see all the heroes flying in. We see Thor show back up and get his hammer back. And we get right close up to... Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. He got his axe. And then fucking Cap goes, Avengers! Assemble. Ah! The whole theater did their war cry. It was the war cry. It was the assembly of the century. It was probably the best movie theater moment ever. What was better than that? Let me know, chat. Let me know. So that's it. We did it. We went over everything. Well, except for the new news. Let's go ahead and talk about that real quick. Speaking of Avengers, the guy who did Thunderbolts, the new Avengers, his name is Jake Schreier. And they, and by they I mean Marvel Studios, are thinking of having him helm the next X-Men movie, the new X-Men. Yeah, have new Avengers, dude. Do new X-Men. That makes sense. It's just like having the Russo brothers go from Civil War to Avengers. It just makes sense. I'm all for it. I think. Remember Ted, the movie? And then remember Ted, the TV show, which was a prequel to the movie? Well, Ted's back. Ted Season 2 is happening, but also Ted the Animated. Seth MacFarlane has so many goddamn shows in the works. It's ridiculous. But Ted the Animated Series is going to be a sequel to the films. So there is no specific storyline yet, but the series is a sequel. And MacFarlane will be back as Ted, of course. We're also getting Mark Wahlberg voicing John, Amanda Seyfried as Sam, and Jessica Barth as Tammy Lynn. We'll also get Kyle Mooney joining the cast. Ted's movies 1 and 2 are on Netflix right now, and you can check out the Ted live action series on Peacock. And that animated series will be on Peacock as well. Not speaking of Peacock, speaking of streaming services, Max will get way more assertive about their password sharing this year, says the streaming chief. So far, a password crackdown is limited to the U.S. retail subscriber base, and the messaging is still very soft. Max is offering an extra member add-on for $8 a month. So we haven't been hit that hard with it. I specifically haven't been hit hard with it. Thank God. I love Max. Oh, wait, why am I saying thank God? I don't have to pay $8. I'm already paying the yearly subscription. All I'm saying is get ready, because I think it's going to happen like Netflix. Everyone's going to get hit, and y'all ain't going to like it. But I will, because that's like the only streaming service that I do yearly subscriptions to. Remember 10 things I hate about you? Well, there's 10 things I hate about the idea of a sequel, because the director plans a sequel trilogy with nod to Heath Ledger. He deserves to be loved. If you check out this article, which I think is on Deadline, it's with the director who I don't know if he did anything after this film, but it seems like he doesn't have any like money behind it. I think he's like working on a script. I think people would go see it, but I don't think it's a good idea. I just don't. There's not really a main reason. It's just the way he's like, we got 2 and 3 planned out. It's like Kevin Smith talking about Mallrats. I was excited. It's like, a new TV show might be on Netflix, actually. He got the internet hype, and then he goes, well, no one bought it. It's like, hey, motherfucker, don't promise us things that aren't going to happen. So you, 10 things I hate about you person, don't do that. Not that I'd be like, oh, my God, but you might be. I probably wouldn't, though. George Clooney and Adam Sandler film coming soonish. And by soonish, I mean in theaters November 14th and on streaming Netflix December 5th. It's called Jay Kelly. It's directed by Noah Baumbach, who is husband to Greta Gerwig. Really good director. But it's called a heartbreaking comedy where everybody knows Jay Kelly, but Jay Kelly doesn't know himself. No, Adam Sandler and George Clooney have never done a movie together. Yes, I'm very interested in this film. I can't remember what the movie's called. So Adam Sandler wasn't a Noah Baumbach movie before. What was it? It's on Netflix. What is that movie called? Real quick. The Mirowitz Stories, which also had Ben Stiller and Dustin Hoffman. Highly recommend. Super fun. It's not like an Adam Sandler comedy, but it is fairly decent. So yes, I'm interested in this. And it's your boy George Clooney. New David O. Russell film coming out that's starring Jenna Ortega and Robert De Niro. If you don't know David O. Russell, he's a fucking psycho. He hasn't done anything crazy lately, but check out I Heart Huckabee's director goes crazy on Lily Tomlin. It's very awkward. Also, Google the story of George Clooney almost beating the shit out of him on the set of Three Kings. But he also did Silver Linings Playbook and a couple other movies. He's an excellent director, so I'm interested in this film. I'm really interested to see how him and Jenna Ortega are going to work out together. But, Jenna Ortega doing her thing. Godzilla X Kong has come out with their new subtitle, Supernova. Bad title, but Godzilla is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be like art. The new director is Grant Sputori, who did one movie, and it's called I Am Mother. I talked about this on a very old episode. It was released on Netflix. I think it stars Hilary Swank. In the wake of humanity's extinction, a teenage girl is raised by a robot designed to repopulate the Earth, but their unique bond is threatened when an inexplicable stranger arrives with alarming news. It looked okay, but the reviews are fairly good online. But this I Am Mother on Netflix movie is what got this guy Godzilla and Kong, so I'm interested. Finally in the news, Coyote versus Acme is back, baby. It's happening. And by happening, I mean it is heading to Cannes market for sale. So that's dope. That's really dope. So it's probably not gonna be in theaters this year. If it is, I would assume around Christmas time. But it's not dead, y'all. All right. Before we call it a night, let's just talk about what's coming out this week. Final Destination Bloodlines. I am super stoked for this. I'm seeing it Thursday. Poppin' forecast. Super poppin'. It might be terrible, though, like Final Destination 4, a.k.a. The Final Destination. But hopefully it's really good. I am very excited about it. You can get prepared and watch Final Destinations 1 through 5 on Max right now. Also in select theaters is Friendship. It didn't come out around here last week, but it is this week. I don't think I'm going to go see it, but I am excited for Paul Rudd and Tim Robinson. A man tries to befriend his charismatic new neighbor, but it's soon threatened to ruin both of their lives. Again, in select theaters Thursday. TV-wise, we got Tom Segura's Bad Thoughts on Netflix tomorrow. Very excited. I'm a Tom Segura fan, and it's anthological. It looks like it's a lot of fun. Love, Death, and Robots is back, baby. I might watch an episode or two during lunch on Thursday when Volume 4 drops, but if you haven't watched the show before, it's a collection of animated short stories that span various genres, including science fiction, fantasy, horror, and comedy. Netflix, Thursday. A lot of shit's coming out on Thursday, man. Fucking Final Destination's taking up my shit. That's okay, I'll watch this all on the weekend. Duster. In the 1970s, a getaway driver encounters a tenacious FBI agent who wants to take his crime family down. Now, look, I don't watch trailers often. I'm glad I watched this trailer. Google the trailer to Duster. I think they have 2 trailers. Don't watch the second one. I haven't watched that one because I was like, I'm sold. But I loved this trailer so fucking much. Also, J.J. Abrams worked on the show. Been a while since we heard that name. Murderbots, which I don't foresee being very dope, is starting Friday's Apple TV Plus. I think it's based on a book. In a high-tech future, a rogue security robot played by Alexander Skarsgård, security gains free will. To stay hidden, it reluctantly joins a new mission protecting scientists on a dangerous planet, even though it just wants to binge soap operas. I did watch the trailer for this, too. I wasn't very impressed. It looks kind of funny. I'll try it, but I don't think this will be popping enough. I like Alexander Skarsgård, though. And for him to join a TV show, that means it must have legs. I don't watch the show, but the final season of The Chi is starting on Friday on Paramount Plus. And finally, the last semi-interested show is dropping on Netflix Friday called Bet. It's a live-action series that's based on a Japanese manga, Kakaguri, really? And follows a transfer student at a boarding school where gambling dictates the social hierarchy. Check out the trailer for this. It looks wild as fuck. If no people are dying, I'm not going to like the show, but if people are dying, oh boy, I'm going to watch it. So yeah, that's it, guys. The next time you guys are going to see me, this is me looking at the info real quick, if it pops up. I'm going to a festival on Saturday, and I'm happy to meet up with you guys and talk. The information is not showing up, but there is a great job. When I hit, oh, there we go. Cartoons and Stereo Festival. That is Saturday at 6440 White Street in Detroit, Michigan. There are some bands playing and some rappers performing. Highly recommend. It's a skateboard. Whoa, really? It's a skateboarding music festival with 9-foot rim dunk contest. Really? Pop-up skate park, vintage clothing market. Vintage is probably like shirts that I wear now because I'm old. And local food trucks. So it sounds like a fun time. I'm going to be heading there Saturday. It's powered by Red Bull and LGM. So, yeah, seems like a fun time. I think everyone should go, not only to see me and talk movies and TV, but also to support the local artists. And before we go, let's catch up on the chat real quick. Captain Marvel was a great movie. Should have been ranked higher. Hey, I kind of agree with you, B+99. I didn't rank it higher because I just like those other films more, but it's definitely an underrated film for sure. Kong Skull Island is the best MonsterVerse movie. I disagree. I loved Godzilla King of Monsters the most. But then again, I'm more of a Godzilla fan than I am King Kong. However, the Vietnam aspect of King Kong was a really cool storyline to get in there. Captain Marvel got an A cinema score. I don't usually follow cinema score, but I do know, like, amongst the people I talked to, they're like, Captain Marvel was okay. I'm like, Captain Marvel is dope. And by the way, The Marvels is even doper. Captain Marvel received A grade cinema score from our audiences. Again, not the biggest cinema score guy, personally. I don't know if I follow it that much, but I think I trust cinema score more than Rotten Tomatoes, so maybe they're onto something. I'll definitely look at cinema score ratings more. Subbed. Hey, thank you. I appreciate the sub. All the Brie Larson hate started in 2018 when she asked for more diversity once. That's crazy. More diversity? Yes, we want more diversity. Why do people hate that so much? It's so silly. Christian Bale says Hollywood and the world would be better if white dudes weren't in charge of everything. Yeah, that's true. Christian Bale, the actor, says there would be so much better films and so much more interesting stories if white dudes weren't running Hollywood. Christian Bale has had enough of white guys running Hollywood and beyond. The actor stopped by AOL Build with his Hostiles co-star Rosamund Pike with Studi on, and told the crowd that the reason he moved to the U.S. in the first place was because he wanted his kids to grow up in the country of inclusion. Unfortunately, that ideal hasn't been much of a reality. Yeah, I guess I kind of agree. Yeah, I think I do agree. Christian Bale said the exact same thing as Brie Larson only a few days before her, yet gets hate from incels. Okay, so we're on the same page. That's weird. I never really noticed that happening concurrently with Christian Bale. But he's a white guy, so that's why people were like, yeah, all right, Christian Bale. But a woman saying it, what? Yeah, I think we're on the same page, B+99. Thanks for the sub, and thank you for watching. But people just hate women. I don't get it. And I think people hate women now more than ever. But I don't want to get into that. What I will get into are more movies and television, and I will be reviewing as well next Monday at 7 p.m. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe. If you haven't commented yet, make sure you comment. If you haven't liked or shared, make sure you like and share. And yeah, that's it. Oh, one more. It looks like Be Positive said one more thing. Captain Marvel producer Jonathan Schwartz, who also produced the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, called Brie Larson the next Tom Cruise. On any other Marvel movie, stunt doubles would be doing 99% of what she's doing. Damn, I didn't realize she was that much of a badass. Actually, no, I did. If you followed her Instagram preparing for the Marvels, she was getting swole, and people were just making fun of her the whole time. Now I hardly see anything about her, and that kind of sucks. I love the Marvels, and I'm very excited to talk about the Marvels a little bit more. If you look at older videos on my YouTube page, you will find me talking about the Marvels, but very underrated MCU film. Anyways, I'll wrap up. Thank you so much, guys. Subscribe, share, and I'll see you